What is up, everyone? I'm back again with my first ever ranking video. This is going to be for the TV show Black Mirror, and as of filming this there are 5 seasons up to now, and I'm going to be ranking 22 episodes from my worst to best. Now I say worst, but I didn't dislike any of these episodes. There's just some that are stronger than others, of course, and when I talk to people about this show, they seem to have different opinions on what their favourite is, their least favourite. So I just thought it'd be fun to do a little video, what my favourites are, and I'm sure everyone who's into Black Mirror have different top 10s or whatever, have different opinions. So I thought Black Mirror fans might actually enjoy this video. And this is written by Charlie Brooker, and he created this show and wrote most of them. And I just think he's kind of a genius, really, some of these stories that he comes up with. And there's a bit of thriller, a bit of sci-fi, a bit of horror even in some of these episodes. Some of them are quite depressing, but it's a show that can go on forever, really, in my opinion, because all the stories are different. It's an anthology series, and it's something I'm never really going to get bored of, I don't think. Now, I will do my best to avoid spoilers in this ranking list. It's going to be quite difficult because most episodes are 45 minutes long, but I will do my very best. But I'm sure most of you watching this video are Black Mirror fans anyway. And one more point before I get on to number 22. I have not included Bandersnatch in this list, mainly because everyone's going to have a different experience with that, and there's different outcomes or whatever to the story. But let's just get on with number 22. Number 22 is going to be Men Against Fire. Now, this really tells the story of an army squad going into these villages and eliminating these zombie type creatures. There were some good action moments in this, but it's probably my least memorable out of all of them. And it had a cool ending, but just the story was a little too simple, and the characters as well just didn't really stand out for me. So number 22 is Men Against Fire. Number 21 is going to be The Entire History of You. A lot of people have this high on their list, so sorry if I've offended anyone there. But basically this is about people who can look into others' memories and rewind what they've been up to and stuff. And I invested myself heavily in the episode, and the ending didn't really pay off too well for me. It's an interesting concept, but compared to some of the episodes, they hit home way harder than this one. It was just a little bit forgetful, and probably the weakest episode from the first series. So number 21 is The Entire History of You. Number 20 is going to be The Waldo Moment. This is basically about an animated character that appears on TV screens and stuff, and he goes after some politicians as a joke, and people start to side with him. And the guy doing this character's voice, called Waldo, doesn't really want to go in that direction. He's sort of getting forced to by these TV companies who are getting lots of popularity and stuff, or the TV company he works for, sorry. But my main gripe was with it, I just didn't like the character Waldo, even though all these people in this episode were siding with him. I just couldn't take to him at all, and his voice was really annoying. So yeah, number 20 is going to be The Waldo Moment. Number 19 is Metalhead. This is a black and white episode for some reason, but it did have a good effect. And the world is like a nuclear apocalypse, and people are just like looking after each other, and it's about this group of characters who go into a warehouse to find some medical supplies, and they wake up this robot dog sort of type thing, and it just wipes out most of the group except this one female lead character, and it does not stop. It just keeps coming after her and after her, trying to kill her basically. It's like a weapon that's been created. And it's a really tense episode, the shortest one in the series, I think. And I really enjoyed it. I just liked these 18 episodes a little bit more. But this is really getting into an episode that I really enjoyed now. So number 19 is Metalhead. Number 18 is going to be 15 Million Merits. Daniel Kaluuya is in this episode, and he's definitely the strongest point of it. It's basically about the longer you stay on this cycling machine, the more merits you can build up to get out of this little place that they're living in. It's a really depressing underground type facility, and it's just the way the world is, and you have to spend merits on a talent you've got to get out, and if the judges say you aren't any good, you have to start from the very bottom again, cycling for all these credits. And it's a really interesting content. My main gripe with it was just on for a long time. It's like 1 hour and 20 minutes, and it didn't have to be. This could easily have been done in a 45-minute episode, and that's one of them that really stops me from going back to it. But I still really enjoyed it. So number 18 is 15 million merits. Number 17 is going to be Playtest. This is about a guy who gets chosen to test a VR experience in this haunted house or mansion. I can't remember what it is. And basically, it goes a little bit too far. He is warned that he's going to be terrified when he goes into this, but this is a bit over the top. And it's this episode is the biggest one that contains a lot of horror. It's like a horror episode. But my main gripe with this one was the main character. I just couldn't really take to him at all. He was okay, but he was a bit annoying at times. He had a very cocky attitude and stuff. But this had a decent ending, and I enjoyed it. So number 17 is going to be Playtest. Number 16 is going to be Archangel. This is about a young girl who almost goes missing at one point, and her mum is really worried about her, so she gets this chip planted in her so she can see where she's going all the time, and she looks on this little tablet where she is, and so she's never worrying about her. And when she gets a bit older, she agrees to put this device away, even though it's still implanted in this girl. She agrees not to spy on her no more, and she doesn't really like the new boy she's hanging out with, so she decides to spy on her again. And there's a little message in this, as if you've got to trust your children. And this had a really, really heavy ending. It really did. And I really like this one, Archangel. But there's definitely a message in there. So, yeah, number 16 is Archangel. Number 15 is going to be the strongest episode, in my opinion, from season 1. And that is the National Anthem. This is basically about the Prime Minister. And he receives a video call of these guys who took the Princess of the UK hostage, and if he doesn't basically have sex with a pig by a certain time in that day, the princess will be killed. And all his advisors and stuff are saying, don't worry, we'll find this guy, it'll be okay. And as the timer comes down, you are really, with the people of this episode, anticipating what's going to happen, because they're all in front of their TV screens and that, because it's got to be filmed live, and you're sort of with them thinking, what's going to happen, you know. And again, this has a really strong message in this one. I won't ruin it, but at the end you'll see what I mean. And this really kicked off Black Mirror for me. This really got me interested. Not that I'm into that type of thing, but it was just a really interesting episode. And you know, it's just one that really sets up the series of what it's going to be like. So number 15 is the National Anthem. Number 14 is going to be Hated in the Nation. Now, this is basically like a movie, this episode. This is like an hour and a half runtime. But I didn't actually mind that, because there was a lot more to this one than the 15 million merits. There was a better story going on. But this is basically about people in society who are not really liked by everyone else. These famous people who are outspoken and stuff, they start to be killed in mysterious ways, and there's a social network voting on who you would want to be killed next, and everyone's voting on it, thinking that it's going to be some sort of joke, but it does actually happen. And there's a very strong message in this episode to say, don't take what you can say on social media is really affecting other people. And I thought this was a fantastically well done episode, but it's like a movie, it really is. But number 14 is going to be Hated in the Nation. Number 13 is going to be Black Museum. Now, this is an anthology series, but on this episode there is a lot of links to the other episodes. And this is basically about this young girl who goes to this museum in the middle of nowhere, and she's looking at all these artifacts that have to do with some of the other episodes in Black Mirror. And this guy who runs the museum tells her 3 stories that all link. And my only problem with it was the first story didn't really link with the other 3, but the first story was the strongest. It's about this doctor who loves pain, and he just starts doing stuff to himself, like pulling his teeth out and that, to get that kick again. But it was an interesting one with the 3 different stories, and you know, there's an outcome that happens with the girl and the tour guide, basically. And it's a good little twist ending and stuff. So yeah, number 13 is Black Museum. Number 12 is going to be Rachel, Jack and Ashley 2. This is the episode that involves Miley Cyrus, and it's basically about this young girl who gets a doll called Ashley 2, and it's based on her favourite pop star, who is actually Miley Cyrus in the episode. And it sort of shows a story that comes together with these two characters, but it tells two different stories. One is Miley Cyrus's story, who is Ashley 2 in the episode, and the other story tells of this young girl who has the doll and her sister, and what their life is like and how they both sort of come together. And it also says what pop stars' lives must be like. I mean, are they really that happy and stuff? Oh, it's probably up to yourself to decide. We'll probably never know. But this episode does look into that. And I thought Miley Cyrus was great in this. But yeah, number 12 is going to be Rachel, Jack and Ashley 2. Okay, getting into the good stuff now. Number 11 is going to be White Bear. This is about a woman who basically wakes up in this house, and when she looks out the window, everyone is looking at her at these binoculars and just standing there staring at her. And she walks out the house, and next minute this hunter sort of guy with a big shotgun, a big sniper rifle or shotgun, I can't remember what it is, just starts chasing her. And all these people are just filming it on their phones and stuff. And it's really, really strange. But the ending is a massive payoff as to why this is happening. And I thought this was a really, really clever episode. And yeah, if you've seen this one, you'll know exactly what I mean. And a lot of people do have this in like their top 5 and stuff. But yeah, it's a very strong episode. So number 11 is White Bear. Number 10 is going to be White Christmas. This episode contains John Hamm. And this is sort of like Black Museum, where 3 stories linked to make one. Although this is more the whole 3 connecting more better than Black Museum. And it's about these 2 guys in a cabin at on Christmas Eve, I think it is, or Christmas Day. And they're just telling some stories between them and how they all link together. And again, the ending to this is fantastic. It just really ties everything up in such a good way. And it's like one of them depressing Christmas specials that sometimes get shown. Some TV series like to do that, like The League of Gentlemen and stuff. And this was a really clever Christmas episode, it really was. I might actually go back at Christmas time and watch this. But yeah, number 10 is White Christmas. Number 9 is going to be Striking Vipers. This has Yahul Abdul Mateen, I think his name is, and Anthony Mackie. Now, Yahul is going to be in the new Candyman movie, which had me interested because he's a very strong character in this episode, along with Anthony Mackie. And this is basically about these 2 guys, and they are playing a Street Fighter type of game called Striking Vipers, but it's all in VR. And at first they're just having a few beat 'em up games, you know, little round 1, round 2 and stuff, fighting each other. Next minute they end up having sex together in the game, because one is a female character and one is a male character, and they just think it's so weird, but it becomes like a drug. They jump back into the game all the time behind Anthony Mackie's sort of doing it behind his wife's back. It's a really, really interesting episode, and yeah, it'll make you think, this one, it really will. So number 9 is Striking Vipers. Number 8 is going to be Nosedive. This basically tells the story of people in society who are better thought of than others by how many likes they have on their profile. So you could walk past someone and interact with them and give them a 5-star rating to get their rating up. And it's basically people with these 5-star ratings only really want to interact with these other people who have 5-star ratings. And this stars Bryce Dallas Howard from Jurassic World, sorry. And she's really strong in this episode, and she's trying to get her liking up. She's obsessed with it. But what made me think is my fiance's brother actually said to me that this is the one that's closest to society right now, and I totally agree with him. It's not something we're quite far off. I see videos like this on Twitter all the time. Like, I seen a video of these girls on Twitter saying, oh, I've been followed by someone and he's got like 1 million followers, and it just made me instantly think of this episode. But yeah, it's a great one, this, and the wedding scene at the end is fantastic. So number 8 is Nosedive. Number 7 is going to be from the latest season, and that is Smithereens. Oh, I loved this episode so much. This is probably the strongest from the newest season. Andrew Scott plays this character, and he seems really normal, this guy. He's just like a taxi driver, which sort of makes you connect with him, because he seems so normal. But like a little bit into the episode, he kidnaps this young apprentice who's working for this social media company, and he starts being chased by the cops, and he's in the middle of a field, and it just becomes a big standoff, like a hostage situation, and you are on the edge of your seat for the whole episode. I loved it. It's a fantastically well made episode, and I think it's on for over an hour, this one. It's sort of like a movie, this one. It was really tense, very realistic, and I just loved it. So yeah, number 7 is Smithereens. Number 6 is going to be Shut Up and Dance, starring Alex Lauder from The End of the Fucking World and Jerome Flynn, one of my favourite characters from Game of Thrones. This is basically about a young 16-year-old boy who is sort of masturbating on camera, and then he gets a message saying, "We have filmed everything on your camera. If you don't do what we say, we will leak this video all over social media." And he starts panicking and has to do everything that this message is telling him to do. But he meets other people along the way, like Jerome Flynn, who's also being bribed. And it's interesting to see why these characters are being bribed and stuff. Now, a lot of people have this as number 1 on their list. And you know what? It might have been higher, but from the first 5 minutes, I guessed the twist ending. So that's maybe why it's not so high for me. But it's a really, really good episode, and there's a scene in this, including a bank robbery, that is just brilliant. So yeah. Number 6 is that? Number 6 is Shut Up and Dance. Number 5 is going to be USS Pallister. This is my friend Kyle's favourite ever episode. He kept telling me to watch this episode if I was going to watch any before I'd even started Black Mirror. And yeah, it's a brilliant one. This basically stars Jesse Plemons. You'll probably remember him from Breaking Bad or Fargo Season 2. Or The Irishman, the new movie that came out on Netflix. And he's this really shady executive of this company, but when he goes home into his own virtual game and treats these characters like absolute crap, because he sort of gets treated by absolute crap by his co-creator of this company. And I think he just likes to take it out on them. But these virtual characters really, they seem to have a life in this game, and it's really, really weird. It really is. But this is all done like a Star Trek episode. I loved how colourful it was and stuff. And Jesse Plemons was just a really horrible character. But a lot of people love this episode who I speak to. Most of them have it in their top 5 or top 3 or whatever. But number 5 for me is going to be USS Pallister. Okay, number 4 is one that really made me sit up and take notice how good Black Mirror was, because it's from season 2, and that is called Be Right Back. This is basically about a young couple who moved to the countryside, and I think at the very start of the episode, the male part of the couple, he dies in a car crash, I think. That's not a spoiler, it happens at the start. And this widow is really struggling with her life without him, and she hears of this app from a friend where it will take all of his emails, everything he's ever texted, everything he's ever posted on social media, and she can text this number and it will be him texting back. But it's not really him, it's just a program designed to be exactly like him. And it's a little weird at first, and further on in the episode, she realises that she can go even further by bringing him back as this sort of android sort of thing that gets delivered to her house. I won't say no more, but it made me... I was saying to my fiance, would you do this? Like, if I died, would you go onto this program? And she asked me the same thing, and it really makes you question whether you would or not. This is a really strong episode. it just really made me take notice how good this series is going to be. And even though it's one of the earlier ones, it's definitely one of the best. And if you are looking to start this program, you can start anywhere. I'd advise starting at the start. But if I was going to say to pick any, I would go with this one, just so you know what you're in for. But number 4 is going to be Right Back. Number 3 is going to be Hang the DJ. Now, this is basically about a program where 2 couples are paired together, and that's your relationship. But you might only be together for 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, 12 years, 10 years. This program tells you how long you're going to be with this person. And this is basically about a young couple who are paired together. I think it's for a day. And they feel like they didn't make the most of their time together. And they want to be put back together in this program after going out with other, like being put into other couples and not really feeling the same connection. And I was really rooting for these 2 characters. They were so likeable, and I really wanted it to end so well for them. I really did. I really connected with them, and I wanted them to meet up again and get paired again. It was a really, really strong episode, this, mainly due to the main 2 characters. Number 3 is going to be Hang the DJ. Number 2 is going to be Crocodile. Now, I really struggled with this. I was going to put this as number 1, but I just think number 1 has a little bit more to it. But this stars Andrea Riseborough, who is basically this woman who's her and her boyfriend run over someone in the middle of nowhere, and they decide to dump his body. And it jumps forward 15 years later, and she's in a different relationship, and she meets up with this guy again who she used to be with, and he wants to tell this widow where his son's body is. And it's really, this widow where her husband's body is. And Andrea Riseborough's character is so against this. She feels like she's broke free from that now, and she doesn't want the past coming back to haunt her and stuff. But what plays out is some of the most shocking and depressing, brutal scenes you will ever see in a Black Mirror episode. This was really the darkest episode of them all. And Andrea Riseborough was phenomenal as this character. And definitely the hardest ending to watch. Definitely. Absolutely fantastic episode. But it's not for the faint of heart. Really, really dark, that one. But yeah, number 2 is Crocodile. Number 1 is going to be San Junipero. A lot of people do have this as their number 1, and I can't blame them. It's a fantastic episode. It's about this young girl who's basically goes into this nightclub. She hasn't really got any friends or whatever, and guys are talking to her and she's not really interested, and she meets this girl who she takes a liking to, and this girl takes a liking to her, and they sort of become lovers. But it all takes place in the 80s, which I really liked. And what made me feel, it's like these 2 girls were only meeting at the weekend. It wouldn't show you their life through the week or anything. It would just show you each weekend. And it had a very, very David Lynch feel to it. That's what I loved most about it, especially for the first 2 acts. It felt like a David Lynch movie. And I just thought it was an incredibly well done episode, with a very clever 3rd act to intertwine. And like the Hang the DJ episode, I was really rooting for these 2 characters so much. They were so likeable. But with Black Mirror, you never know what ending you're going to get. It could be depressing, it could be a good one. And I was really rooting for these characters. It was just such a good episode. It really is. I loved it. I absolutely loved this episode. So yeah, number 1 is San Junipero. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making this list. And it was a hard one, it was really hard to put together because there's so many good episodes, and I recommend Black Mirror to anyone. If you haven't started it and this has got you intrigued, definitely do it because it's so worth it. I hope they make more of these. I can't wait for the season 6 if it ever does come along. So thank you so much guys. If you want to comment and leave your rankings, I will reply to all of you, I promise. And if you want more videos, you can always subscribe. It's up to yourself. I've got a lot more videos coming, lots of more different ideas. And I'll see you all on the next video. Take it easy, guys. See you later.